Hi, everyone. This is Maria Silva with Visa Franchise once again. Today I'm here with Michael Meier. Michael was a client of ours who started his work with us, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020. He's recently invested in D.O.G Hotels, which is a dog overnight daycare and grooming franchise in the Miami area. And he's going to be answering a couple of questions about his investment process with us, his process with D.O.G Hotels themselves, amongst many others. So, Mickey, thank you for being with us once again.
Thank you for the invitation. Yeah.
To start, the first question I normally like to begin by asking my client is, what made you decide to work with Visa Franchise in that aspect? Like, how did you come to us? And then also, what made you sign with us for our services?
The whole process or the idea of moving to the US came up in my mind, and I was still back in Switzerland by then. And I started surfing the internet to find a way how to get to the US, how to get a visa so I can live in the US. And then I found out about the E2 visa, and Visa Franchise was a name that popped up, and I talked to Visa Franchise to Patrick initially, and I had a very good impression. So that's how the whole process did get started. Yeah.
Got it. And how was your investment process? Would you mind sharing with us a couple of details? How long it took? How many franchises you ended up speaking with?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, we had an initial talk on the phone. Then I got a questionnaire sent by Patrick, which I did fill out. Based on my answers on this questionnaire, Visa Franchise then sent me like a few recommendations, what they think would be a good fit for me. And so we had several sessions, and I worked through that list with Patrick, and until we came to the conclusion, or I came to the conclusion that the investment I made in D.O.G, that's a dog daycare and boarding business, this is the one that's ideal for me. So that's how it started, and I got introduced to this company, the D.O.G Hotels, and we took it from there, and figured out the details, contract. So it was very easy, let's put it this way. I mean, I think I talked to like 4 or 5 companies, so I was always introduced by Visa Franchise to all the different companies. But as I said, in the end, I had to decide for one, and I took the one that I think would fit the best. I think, my process was a long process, simply due to the COVID situation. With Visa Franchise, it was a pretty straightforward process, but then it really started after I signed the franchise agreement, etc. With moving to the US, getting the business up and running because everything was closed due to COVID and things like that. But eventually it worked out, and I'm sitting here in Florida now. The business open since a little bit more than 12 months. And we had a good start. I mean, every month was an improvement, and I think we're on a good track, and I don't regret it at all. Let's put it this way.
Perfect. And I do remember you being a very easy client to go with and to work with as well. I think we showed you 5 options. You ended up speaking to all of them. And I mean, in the end, I'm glad it worked out with one of the first 5 we showed you, which is definitely a plus. I know you spoke to a number of franchises, but at the end of the day, what ended up making you choose D.O.G Hotels?
I think that the business form itself, I mean, I was inquiring a little bit before I contacted Visa Franchise. I was inquiring myself, and I talked to a similar franchise business. And I like the industry, the pet industry itself. I have a dog by my own dog. So yeah, somehow I feel connected to pet industry. What I liked about that specific brand I did choose is like it's a local business. Even it's a franchise business, but they concentrate on Miami and surroundings, which was or at the time it was very important for me because, as I mentioned earlier, due to COVID, I was not able to travel. And they said, hey, we are going to be here. We're going to take care of everything, the build out of the location, building permits to run the location, etc. So we are based in Miami. We're gonna be around, and for me that was the best solution back at the time. I mean, still is a good solution
Got it.
at altogether as I mentioned as well. But that I think that was like really the kicker in the end because I knew I can't be there, but I
Yeah,
want to go ahead with the process, and they took care of everything. Man.
that makes a lot of sense. Do you remember how many calls you had with Juan when you were about to invest with D.O.G Hotels?
Cool.
A lot,
I
right?
think I had a few calls.
Okay.
I don't think that many calls, like I'm the guy, yeah. Once you talk to people and you get a feeling, is it the right fit or not? And then, no, it was very good. It was very good to work with them in that. So I can recommend. It's a good team. They're helpful. They're open for suggestions. And it was a good dialogue. It was not a one-way street, and they really want
Okay.
to work with you. And so, no, but yeah, a few phone calls. They're definitely
Got
were
it.
in between. And
I mean, those are the most important ones I always tell my clients because the time to make a decision on whether the business is going to work for you or not is during this investment process and the discovery process overall. So that makes a lot of sense. I know you spoke very briefly on it, but can you tell us a bit on how your business opening process went and just whether you're happy with your investment decision overall?
yeah, again, the COVID didn't really help the whole business, so it was postponed and postponed and postponed again. The
Yeah.
opening of the location, but it is or it was what it was. It's nobody's fault, like neither the D.O.G hotels fault or your fault or anything. It was just like
Yeah, it took a
the whole
while, right?
world excited, yeah. So sometimes it was a little bit nerve wracking as well. Like they promised you, okay, we're gonna give you the license next week, and then it took another 2 months, and yeah, it was all delayed. So and then I felt like first, honestly, I was like a little frustrated after a while. Yeah, once we opened, it was nice to see like yeah, it's a business that starts, but every month we did better and better and better, and we are open for a little bit more than a year now. The team is doing a great job, and the sales is increasing every month.
Okay.
So I'm back on the happy track, or yeah, it was definitely
Um,
a special situation just due to the fact
Well, it did
we
take
had
a while. But the consulate in Switzerland actually reopened faster than most others in Europe, right? So I think we were also lucky to some extent in that end.
honestly, I don't even know how the situation was in other countries in Europe, but yeah, once the consulate did open in Switzerland, it was pretty easy,
Got it.
straightforward process. I was working with a visa lawyer to prepare the whole application for the D2. That was a straightforward process, So
For sure.
I was at the consulate. It was super easy. So
Okay.
interview didn't even last 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So
Super fast.
super fast. I mean, yeah, I think the documentation that my lawyer did prepare was very good.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't really have questions, so it was literally like, okay, counter one, who are you? Counter two, please hand out the passport. Counter three is going to be the interview, which
Okay.
were basically 2 questions, and then they go to counter seven, please pay for it, come back to me, show
Got
proof of
it.
payment. And I was
Oh,
out
that's
of there.
great.
And 2 days later, I had the visa, and
You had the visa in
I
hand.
was good to go. Yeah.
Okay. That's super straightforward. Do you remember what questions they asked you in the interview?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, 2 or 3
Yeah.
questions. It was like, what business? Well,
Okay.
what's the business doing? Why is the business? And where are you located? And I think that was pretty much it. So there
Okay.
was not crowd. What are the numbers? What's your
Got
business
it.
plan? But obviously, that was all part of the package I had to
For
send
sure.
in beforehand. So
Yeah. And out of curiosity, do they review all the petition you hand in beforehand, or is it only at the time of the interview?
no, they do that beforehand. So
Okay.
you have to send them the whole application package where
Got it.
they list you exactly what they want to have or what they need to see.
Yeah.
And you only get the appointment once they went through that package.
Okay.
So if the package is not complete, they would reach out for you and
Asked you to
telling
resubmit
all the
information.
information they were missing. That's why I say that. I think that's why the interview was so short, because at the whole package, they looked through it, and if the package, if it's a good package, I mean, it should be all in there, business plan, etc. So yeah, no reason for them to ask a lot more questions.
Got it.
Yeah, but at the time I was there, it felt more like, okay, what should we ask him?
Yeah.
So we did drive here, so let's ask him at least a
Yeah.
couple of questions before we
What's
send
a
him
good
back.
question? That makes a lot of sense. But I
But
mean, that just shows how important it is to be well prepared and like make sure that all the documentation you're submitting is super strong. Now that your franchise is open, how has it been doing? I know you mentioned it's been doing great. How was its ramp up process? And then also, how is your current communication and your current relationship with the franchisor? Are you in touch with them every couple of weeks? Are you visiting the location? How often? If so, how is that working for you?
so we opened, that was November 2021. So we had like the 2 months 2021 business year.
Got
And
it.
then I only arrived in the US in May 2022. So
Okay.
as I said, we did the business, they managed it, hired the people, etc. So it was, by the time I arrived in the US, we were already like open for 7 months.
Okay.
It was up and running. And so I arrived here, and in the beginning, I went there maybe every other week.
Got it.
And then at one point, because so I have a management, I mean, I have a store manager, she's very good, enthusiastic young lady. He runs the store super good, had everything under control. And then I have one from D.O.G Hotels. He's like the supervisor, so he's the manager, and then it's the store manager. So I have a crew running the place, and at one point, so we're at the point I go over there once a month. We go through there amongst the results, discuss what can be improved, what needs to be done through, things like that. And yeah, right now we have 10 employees.
Oh, wow.
And so I think I'm in a lucky situation, and I go there once a month, and
For sure.
it's,
That's definitely
it's been
fortunate.
taken care of. So yeah, I might definitely absentee.
And it's a Miami Beach location, right?
It's in Miami Beach,
Yeah.
exactly, Alton Road. So yeah, was I think
That's a really strong location. My dog is a huge fan of it. So
I
yeah,
think
it's very popular amongst dog owners. Now transitioning a bit back the focus to Visa franchise, how well would you say that our client servicing team understood your certain criteria needs? So let's say assuaging or mitigating any doubts or concerns you had throughout your process with us. How did that work?
that worked very well, actually. I mean, yeah. So in the beginning, I was talking to Patrick, and then once we were set off and good to go, yeah, and then I think you came in play, and I mean, I appreciated the communication. So you did check back on me, how is it going, and very helpful. If I had a question, I could send me an email, or we had a quick phone call.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, you guys did support me all the way through it. So, and if someone asks me what about what you think of Visa franchise, I can highly recommend you guys. I mean, I had a 5-star experience with you guys, and with a good transition. Even when you were enrolling the business, it was very good, so helpful.
Perfect.
So, yeah, no, you guys have good help and very loyal,
I
definitely.
appreciate that. Thank you for that. We're always glad to hear if things went well with our clients, and if we were able to assist them. I think the last question I have from my end is basically if you could share any additional tips or guidance with new investors that are just starting their process, what would you tell them?
One thing, yeah, we already talked about is so I hired a lawyer to prepare the whole package that had to be sent in to the US Embassy in Switzerland. So I definitely would recommend everyone working with a lawyer.
Okay.
So because if you send in a package that's not missing anything, I think that's like 95% of the process to get a visa.
Yeah.
Then you're on the safe side. So that's definitely something I would recommend. And I would also recommend like working with a company like Visa Franchise, to
Okay.
even though you have like a business in mind, work with a company like you guys, maybe all of a sudden you can show people an option they didn't even know it exists or they didn't consider in the beginning. So it gives you a good overview what's available at all.
For sure.
And so these are like the two main tips I would give to someone who is considering going through the same process as I did. Yeah.
Got it. So Mickey, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. For those of you who are watching this, we're conducting this interview in February 2023. Mickey just invested in a D.O.G Hotels location. His location is already open. He's already had his visa approved in the U.S. consulate in Switzerland. And I hope you all found this interview as useful and informative as we have. Thank you once again, Mickey. Take care.
Thank you, Maria.